Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And yes, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dion from Dion Talk. How you doing, sir?
Howdy, Mike. Doing great. Ready for round two.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, one of the things I got to mention first, folks, is at one rental at a time, we are a different channel. We have done a daily show at 7:30 a.m. for 1,000 days. But most importantly, we bring on other experts like Dion. So if you want to talk or listen to 8 millionaires every week, subscribe, comment, leave notes below, share the videos with us. I just wanted to ask for subscriptions and see if the subs go up. We'll see what happens. So Dion, I was on Bigger Pockets before we started. And one of the forum posts I saw was, what is your why for real estate investing? So I thought maybe we would talk about our why, but really what I want to do is spend more time about the people, other people watching, because I think some of their whys are not strong enough, or even worse, somebody else's why. So where do you want to take this first?
I'll cover what my why is and why it's made it easy to sit through, because in video one today, we talked about how boring is sexy. Those first 4 to 6 years, it was over 2 years between each purchase. And when I first started, that's a long time too. I moved from my house into an apartment. So I lived in an apartment for 2 years to get rental income on my tax return so I could have a better debt to income ratio, to save up the $20,000 for my down payment on my first house hack. That's a long commitment, when most people think, if I don't see action or some effect in 60, 90 days, it's not worth the time. Because I think it was Bill Gates, we underestimate what we can do in 5 years and overestimate what we can do in 1 year. So my why stayed consistent. I was tired of my sources of income being taken away due to things outside of my control. I've added to my why since then, but that after Desert Storm, the Marine Corps downsized, and it's not in my control. In 2008, the recession hit, police department shrank because it's like, there's no more crime, so we don't need cops anymore. I get laid off at the same time as a bunch of qualified officers. I go back to work for a trucking company because I used to drive trucks. So I go to a trucking company called Oak Harbor Freight Lines, and I was set to make $115,000 that year. And they went on strike because $115,000 home every night, great benefits, and a pension wasn't enough for that union. So outside of my control, they went on strike. That company still hasn't recovered. So I looked around and I thought, what's my why? But it dawned on me that what was my why for working? That was the actual problem. People right now who are watching this that are thinking, okay, so I don't like my job, I want to get out. Or does that mean if you loved your job, you wouldn't look at investing? Because that's not a strong enough why. If you hate your job, change jobs.
Yeah, especially today.
Yeah, right. The great exit doesn't mean people are just stopping working. It means they're going to better jobs or jobs that they prefer. So if I liked my work and it didn't get taken away due to things outside of my control, here was my goal. I wanted to work more than 40 hours a week for more than 40 years to retire on less than 40% of what I was making. That was my goal.
No.
So that's what I've added to my why.
Yeah.
The mistake of most people's goals is to just work until Social Security and possibly a 401k can maybe make it to where you don't have to work when we're in our 70s.
Yeah.
So when people think 4 to 6 years to see a huge impact, and as this buy and hold investing starts to hit the income snowball, that just seems so long, so much time to commit. Remember 40 for 40 for 40, and then think 4 years is not much to commit to.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's just real quick on my why. For me, it was, I just didn't want to have that financial, I wanted to have a financial nest egg, because that's something my family didn't have, and we suffered. Oh, we suffered. So I never wanted to see my daughter and wife go through that. So I still hold that to today. I can still taste it. It's ingrained at this point. But what I want to talk more importantly is about the why of others. Because when you've done this for this long, you write a book, you have a channel, it's a question that comes up, right? What is your why? So I unfortunately hear a lot of whys that I actually think are words from someone else, right? I want to have, why? Well, I want 1,000 units, or I want to do this, or I want to do some other big thing. For that that's not a why. That might be a goal, but it's probably not even your goal, right?
The one I struggle with the most is when I hear, and I get they're just looking into investing. So bringing them around to a mindset that makes more sense and gives them a better chance of success is the thing I enjoy. So I don't mind when this statement is made, but I say, what are your goals? And I want to be a millionaire. Buy lottery tickets. You're more likely to continue to buy lottery tickets and stick with that plan than you are to put up with a late night tenant call, an eviction, a water pipe breaks, all of the problems that we try to point out. Hey, your property manager is going to call you with these issues at some point. You're going to have to deal with it. There could be these issues that you deal with that would absolutely stop you if your goal is to just be a millionaire. So you have to think, why do you want to be a millionaire? What does being a millionaire mean? So to have enough assets to make work optional. Okay, so I understand that one. That's kind of mine. Is it time with family? Is it a more flexible schedule? There's a ton of things that developing that 6-figure side hustle, that money that comes in where you don't have to sell your life 1 hour at a time to have that money coming in, frees you up to do other things. And maybe I have a friend named Steve and he teaches music, but teaching music doesn't pay a lot. I mean, I suppose it can if you hit the lottery of wherever you're going to teach, but just teaching music to the people who want to learn music is not a really high paying job. So he's got into house or couch flipping. He's got his real estate license. He's going to learn how to invest with the why of once financial freedom happens, he can teach whoever he wants without having to worry about what he charges, what it makes. That's a strong why. So he's not even trying to get out of work. He's trying to make it to where he could do the work he wants, where the money doesn't matter. So it's kind of.
Yeah. And I've come to believe that being a millionaire, you're right, is so somebody else's goal. They've heard it somewhere. They talk about it. It's all over the financial news regs. I would tell you that being a millionaire was never my goal. I wanted to have real cash flow coming in that exceeded my expenses. That was it. If I happen to be a millionaire, it really doesn't matter. The only time I even look at that number is when I have to fill out my financial statement for my lenders. I mean, it's such an irrelevant number. And oh, by the way, I've lived through watching that fall 40 or 50%. If you structure your assets correctly, it doesn't matter. But that fall of 40 or 50% can ruin some people in some deals. So yeah, I mean, for, I don't know, first 30 years of my life, I wanted to be a millionaire too, but it's not the goal. It may happen by accident, but
I have a lot of respect for you in that you watched $190 something thousand turn into 40. And instead of saying, I can't invest, you changed investing strategies, took a new asset class, learned a different strategy. And there are really two things that are kind of similar. You want money coming in that covers your living expenses. That was my goal. That's what makes work optional. As soon as you have money coming in that covers you don't have to replace your W-2 income, because in there is taxes, saving for retirement, the cost of going to work versus this is what it costs me to live once that's covered. So that was the same. The second thing that was the same is I don't know that I ever had the goal of being a millionaire. And when I was younger, I probably said the same thing that most people. I'd like to be a millionaire. It sounds great. We've heard it in every TV show everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Like literally there were TV shows called The $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
Right? So they put the million in the title. But I didn't know I hit a net worth over $1 million until 2 years later when I was doing a video to try to figure out what came first, $1 million net worth or $1 million in debt. So if we have a goal, we track the goal, we know when it happens. So my goal was never to have $1 million. It was cash flow that made work optional. And then the hitting the million thing only happens, I only know about it because I did the research to figure out, okay, what is my net worth? I've never cared or looked. So, and this is this. And then the second thing is when I hit the 2 million, so the multi-million-dollar status, was filling out a financial statement for a lender saying, here's the assets, here's the debt, here's the values. And I was like, oh, that's a big number.
That's a big number.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I would tell folks around your why is typically it's 3, 4, maybe even 5 layers deep. You want to be a millionaire. Why? You want to spend more time with your family. Why? Right. So I would tell you to keep grinding, probably go for most of you, if it's really somebody else's why, it might be 5 layers deep, and you never know where it's going to go. So And the reason the why is important is kind of our first video. Is it slow? It takes time. Bad things will happen. You know, you've got to get through the first 3, 4, 5 years before the snowball takes over. So you got to have something to hold on to. The fact that I can sit here, you know, at near 50 and still taste my why is why we were able to keep, you know, change assets, right, from stocks to real estate, and keep going, and then keep going during a crash when you didn't know what was going to happen. So that why has to be, you have to be able to hold on.
And the reason it has to be a strong why is if somebody's trying to get out of an addiction, supportive friends help them. If somebody is trying to win a sport, supportive friends go and provide support. If somebody is trying to reach financial freedom, supportive friends who don't understand financial freedom warn about the risks of real estate investing. They warn about the risks of investing in stocks. They help you by trying to limit that growth. So if your why is not strong enough, our average circle of friends, until we learn how to change the people around us, are going to kind of be a barrier. And so if your why is strong enough, you're going to be able to take not the negative criticism, but the lack of support that you would have in almost any other thing you were trying to accomplish.
Yeah, very cool. So Dan, how can people find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Live streams are Tuesday afternoons, 4 p.m.
Nice. Thanks, buddy.